Hello, everyone. This is Deborah. I would like to share something with you. I believe the Lord wants me to do it. I was on my way to the drugstore and I felt Him pressing on me to share what has been happening the last couple of weeks. Um, all of you know, anybody who's been watching my channel regularly, that my mother has been in an assisted living. And I have been praying a lot lately about my positioning, where I'm supposed to be, because I have been, for the last 3 years, pretty much um, committed to helping my mother. And with everything happening so rapidly now, I have been asking the Lord, how is this going to go on? How am I going to do the things you've told me to do, or that I was going to do, while I am, so committed to my mother? And what has just transpired this past week and a half has happened so rapidly. I was in a daze, actually. My mom fell again. She fell twice in a couple of days. They sent her down to Shock Trauma in Baltimore. They had to set her arm. And gosh, she looked terrible. She had bruises all over. And then she fell again. So the assisted living wanted to move her to a nursing home so that she could recover, because they were taking her off blood thinners. And that is dangerous, and it has to be watched. Well, I felt very strongly in my heart not to let her go, not to let them send her to an assisted living. I was afraid that I would never see her again, excuse me, and that she may die there and I wouldn't even be able to say goodbye to her. So I reached out to my brothers and sisters, and surprisingly, my youngest sister said, I will take her here with me. So we only had a matter of days to get my mother out of that place and in with my sister. Um, I just am in shock. I am just in shock. And another thing I wanted to share with you is that I have never shared this. I've kept it to myself. I think I might have shared on a couple of videos that I was told I would have a city of refuge, and I would like to share one of my dreams. It was more of an experience. It was a dream experience. Some of my dreams are dreams, they're dreams, and then some of them, for me, I know are actually prophetic, and they're showing me the future or something going on in the present. I was brought to a refuge by two women. Now, these women have been in my dreams before, instructing me. I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're angels. I don't know who they are, but they're young, and they escorted me to this refuge, and it was a large compound. There were various buildings on it, and there were some buildings that had looked demolished, and people were putting them back together. As they were showing me around, there was a husband and wife, and they were working on something, and they were arguing, and I had to step in. And so I believe that was the Lord showing me the authority that I would have. And then they took me to a large brick building, very large. It reminded me of what you would see at like Harvard or one of those colleges. It was brick, and it had a very large staircase going up into this huge brick, beautiful building. And when they brought me in, I was in like a center hallway, and it had this beautiful wood on the walls, and the floor was, newly polished. And they brought me to my rooms. Now, as I was walking through this city of this refuge. I knew that I had gained this position of authority and overseeing the place because of my obedience. That was very clear to me in my dream, and these people knew it. And so I was, as I walked through, I, was shown a lot of respect. So I walked into this large entryway, and they brought me to my rooms, and I walked into the first room, and it was like an anteroom or whatever you would want to call it. And I had this there was this table against the wall, and there was a pure white tablecloth on it, and a beautiful vase of flowers. It was very beautiful, but very simple. And then off of that, they brought me in, and it was a small bedroom. There was a single bed in it, and again, it had a beautiful white bedspread. And I was made to notice the wood on the walls, and now this wood was everywhere throughout this building, and I was told it was acacia wood. So I looked that up. I had heard of it before, but I wasn't sure, and I found out that acacia wood was the wood that they built the temple out of, and the priest's rooms in the temple were actually made, the walls were acacia wood. So anyway, I know that I am going to be brought to this refuge, and I know there's a lot of people out there and they've been told to make refuges, but I want you guys to be confident that the Lord has these places set. A lot of them are being built, and I also know this, that as I sleep, I have been working on a refuge in New Mexico, and I won't get into that dream, but Jesus was in that dream, and he said to me, you should consider New Mexico. It still has a lot of land to be built on. Now that was a couple of years ago, and I know for sure that as I sleep, I've shared with you on other videos, I know that the Lord takes my spirit and I go on missions. And I know one of my missions has been to oversee this refuge in New Mexico. I believe it's going to be a place that is not visible to the human eye. I don't know how it's going to work out, where he's going to be bringing his people there, but I believe they will be hidden from the enemy. I had a friend of mine who was a seer who I had led to the Lord, and the Lord immediately began to teach her and show her things. Now, she was a seer, so right away she was able to see things that I could never even imagine, and I think you could imagine how difficult that was for me, because I had been walking with him all my life, and here she got saved and she began to see things like you just can't even imagine. It was kind of hard for me. So oh gosh, what was I going to say? I lost my thought. But he showed her there was going to be a great exodus. She saw thousands of people walking together just like the Israelites did across the desert, and she was shown that very early on in her walk with the Lord. And she said everybody had, some people had nothing, but the only thing people were carrying with them were things on their back, like on a backpack, or just a bundle, and they were carrying this, and she said it was like an exodus. So don't be worried that you're not prepared, or you haven't been able to prepare. Try to do the best you can and be led by the Spirit of the Lord. But I want to encourage you that these things are happening. The Lord is preparing them, even preparing them, and other people don't know about it because it's being done in the Spirit. I wanted to share that. I felt led to share that, and my sister and I left my mom yesterday, and I'm back home. I will be traveling to my home in New York later this week, but my sister said to me in a text, she said, "You're almost home, Deb." And when I read that, I just felt like it was from the Lord himself. You're almost home. I love you guys. Shalom.